On my wedding day, my wedding car got rear-ended by a guy. He got out of the car and nervously apologized to us. Sorry, I didn't mean it. He looked pretty young, probably early 20s, wearing a light blue shirt, seemed kinda inexperienced, like a student. My girlfriend, Wendy, got out of the car right away, joking with him over the car. What's up? Trying to crash the wedding? The guy just looked guilty, biting his lip, not saying a word. With my confused look, Wendy casually introduced him. He's my ex, lives nearby. He seemed to realize he should apologize, so he looked at me regretfully and said, "Sorry, man, for ruining your big day." What was I supposed to do? Normal reaction would be to call the insurance company, but this guy was acting all clueless, expecting me to guide him. Wendy chuckled helplessly. "Haven't I taught you? How come you still don't get it?" "I forgot," he said. Wendy turned to me and said, "Wait for me, I'll sort things out and be back." Before this, she'd never mentioned anything about her ex. Wendy and I are the same age, both 27 with a master's degree. The guy looked younger. When were they together? When did they break up? I had no idea. The bumper was knocked off, so we couldn't use the car. Switching cars took a long time, causing us to miss the auspicious time for the wedding. A bunch of neighbors came out to watch the chaos. An aunt even shouted from the window, "Jason, what's up with that guy? Is he really crashing the wedding?" A nosy old man with a tiny bench came back, saying, "Your girlfriend and his dog are quite close. Hugging and all, outrageous." I wanted to call off the wedding right there, but guests from both sides were already there. Couldn't let them wait hungry, right? So I talked with the host, decided to cancel the ceremony. Did nothing, just let the guests eat. My parents called asking, "What happened?" I told them we're not having the wedding for now. Wendy's family panicked, kept calling me non-stop. I put my phone on silent, didn't pick up a single call, just turned my head and went back to our place. That night, Wendy came home, didn't mention anything about the day's events. She asked, "Why did you call off the wedding?" Was she really turning it around on me? Shouldn't she be explaining things to me? Wendy paused while putting her keys down, casually said, "It's just my ex. I didn't expect him to bump into the car. Pure coincidence. Don't overthink it. We met through a matchmaker, so we're direct with each other. Since it's your ex, I don't think it's necessary for you to handle his insurance." Wendy took off her jacket, sat across from me, calmly started. "I helped him buy John's car. I handled his insurance. If he messes things up, it delays your compensation. Your parents spent $300K on the wedding car. Can't just leave it broken, right?" Wendy's logic was strange. Worried about not getting money, she helped the perpetrator run insurance. She should be an insurance agent with how active she was. "When did you break up with John?" "Half a year ago." Amicably, Wendy didn't hide, because of personality differences. She wiped her face. "Sweetie, we've had a long day. Let's not let this affect us." She grabbed a towel nearby. "You go to sleep, I still have work to do." Then she went to the bathroom. No follow-up explanation. That ambiguous attitude made me laugh from anger. Wendy and I planned the wedding before marriage. No marriage certificate yet. With an ex suddenly popping up, I thought there's no need for the certificate now. But our place was co-purchased by my family and hers. Our names were both on the property deed. Sorting properties, talking it over with parents, all took time. Repairing the car cost thousands. According to Wendy, John couldn't come up with that much money. I told Wendy that's my wedding car. No matter what, compensation is necessary. Now, I just want to get her name off the deed and get my compensation, then break up. Wendy got really busy over the next few days. She openly told me, "I'm going to the insurance company with John. There's a problem on John's end, going to check it out." When both parents asked about the marriage certificate, I kept postponing, secretly consulted a lawyer about the property. Turns out, the absurd actually happened to me. I left some documents at home, so during the office lunch break, I went home to get them. The moment I walked in, I heard voices in the bedroom. Thought my parents had come over. Pushed the door open. Wendy was dressed lightly, lying on John, her face flushed. You said you didn't miss me. Her eyes dazed, still don't. But her hands betrayed her thoughts. They left my wedding bed in a mess. The sheets I picked had John's hair all over them, smelled like his cheap cologne. Disgust overwhelmed me. What were they playing at? Trying to rekindle the flame? Bang. The door hit the wall and bounced back. The loud noise made John jump. Blushing, he looked over. Wendy's gaze gradually cleared. Holding John by the waist, she sat up, wrapped him in a blanket. You go ahead. I'll handle this. John, wrapped in a blanket, dressed himself discreetly, then firmly held Wendy's arm under my gaze. You know, I'm not over her. I'll pay you for this house. Just give me back my girlfriend. I like this decor too. How about you just leave? Holding some documents, I quietly asked, why should I leave my place? This house was grabbed by connections from my parents. Future resale value soon. Ideal for work. If not for the wedding, I'd have financed this apartment myself. Why should I move? John, confused, looked up at Wendy for a word. Wendy thought and said, we don't have to register anymore. I figured I prefer him. I didn't care who you're with, but the house has to be mine. John protested. She paid too. Why yours? Because without me, she wouldn't get a home here. I raised my phone, snapped a photo of them, getting ready to post it in her family group chat. Wendy suddenly stood up, dragged me out the door, whispered, stop making a fuss. My mom doesn't approve of us being together. What good does making a scene do for you? Oh, mystery solved. It's not that we don't get along. It's that her family won't allow it. But what does that have to do with me? I need to keep the house, and they both need to get lost. That night didn't end pleasantly. Wendy and I talked in the living room. John stayed in the bedroom. I didn't want to sit on their messed up sheets. Wendy tried hard to persuade me. You don't need the money. Can't you just take a bit more? Your parents already bought you a house. Why do you need this one? It's not about the money. I worked hard for this place. Picked everything, even the curtains. Ran to dozens of stores for them. Giving it up for some shameless ex? No way. It's my asset. Why should I just hand it over? Charity? I'm attached to this place. Seeing me hold my ground. Wendy got annoyed. Is this worth it to you? I don't like you. Got it? I was stunned. As if I liked her so much. Does she think I'm not letting go because I want her back? Anyway, Wendy and I aren't married. No deep ties. She's rushing to marry John. Ironically, I'm the least rushed. I laughed and said, the deed has both our names. Either you buy me out, or let's drag it out. The bedroom door swung open. John walked out like nothing, took Wendy's hand and said, don't stoop to his level. I have a place. Come home with me. All right, John's place is rented. Guys his age think getting a woman's attention is everything. True love and all that. But he doesn't realize attention means squat in the real world. Wendy stormed out with John. That evening, Wendy's mom called me. Jason, did you and Wendy have a fight? Yes, ma'am. I plan to break up with her. I'll refund the house money once we settle the papers. At least tell me why. You'll have to ask her. The call ended fast. I went back to discussing the gift money with my folks. Wendy really showed guts. Moving in with John, not far, same complex. I'd see them walk their dog when coming home. The dog barked at me a lot. John smirked and said, see this little guy? He knows good from bad. Next day, I complained to management. Asked them to control that dog. Can't risk frightening other residents. John wasn't thrilled. Publicly tagged me in the group chat. Don't go out if you're scared. Can't expect all dogs to avoid you. Meaning I was overreacting. Aimed to rally dog lovers against me. As expected, others chimed in. Right, avoid them if you're scared. Respect one another. But a neighbor came to my defense. The dog wasn't leashed. Scared my kid too. Really classy. Chat fell silent. Those who criticized me reversed. Scolded John. Don't ruin it for us dog owners. Wendy spoke up. We're sorry, we'll be careful. But she forgot to change her nickname. Both of us showed room 102. Admin asked in confusion. Wendy, Where do you live? Isn't it 102? My message delay sent proof of John's unleashed dog with Wendy kissing in tow. Tension rose in the chat. Somebody asked, 102 is a married couple, right? What is this mess? Wendy DM'd me, please take it down. I ignored her. Switched back to see chat blowing up. No way, wife flaunting with another guy. No shame. Harassing people with a dog. Really? An eyewitness neighbor went wild. Shared an audio. Saw it all. He crashed the wedding car and grabbed the bride. Dogs friendly means it's an insider. Might have been going on forever. Suddenly, John's defense fell apart. Used to date before the groom. Neighbor called him out. So you two conned marriage? They dug up wedding day footage. Everything matched. John was done. The group erupted. John's landlord chimed in. Knew before doesn't justify wrecking homes. John, you're out next month. Yeah, have some decency. The flood of agreement was quick. The building's prime location doesn't lack tenants. John's landlord, whom I knew, DM'd me to say, I felt sorry for the young guy, didn't charge much. Didn't know he was a homewrecker. Later, I saw John booted from the chat. Wendy left on her own. No movement from Wendy on the property. Looks like she wants to drag it out too. There are gains and losses. Wendy and I are done. Wedding leave cancelled. Work's been tougher this month. Surpassed expectations, even got a promotion. Colleagues joked I lost in love but won at work. Insisted we celebrate. At 9:30, leaving karaoke, I bumped into John. He'd said goodbye to his friends. Then walked to stop me. Dude, can we talk? I got nothing to say to you. John doesn't care about what I say either. I pulled out my phone to call Wendy. Babe, you don't need to pick me up. I'm heading back by myself. After I said that, I had a dumb expression like, what can I do if she loves me to death? Anyway, it's on my way. I walk in front, carrying my bag, and he's trailing behind, spewing out stuff like, Wendy used to be with me. Actually, you're the third party here. I suddenly stopped, turned, and stared at him intently. I honestly wondered how much nonsense was in his head. Seeing my reaction, John escalated. Yeah, even if stealing a bride isn't classy, what can I do? I'm terrible. I love Wendy. I can't just let her go. Would you let go if you were me? Why in the world should I empathize with a piece of crap? If you two were so good together, why'd you split? My mom wouldn't let me. I just got into grad school and needed to focus on my studies. My family's an intellectual family. If I wanted to marry, it wouldn't involve you at all. Her parents would definitely prefer me. I just kept staring at him, staying silent. So why hasn't she married you yet, even if you're together now? John paused like he was hit where it hurt. He showed his ring finger with a blank expression. She already proposed that night. Promised me she'd end things with you. Seeing the ring with barely noticeable diamonds, I nearly laughed out loud. Wendy's just an ordinary worker, making just over 10K a month. After living expenses, she's not rich. Unlike our marriage, where all the gold and jewelry were complete. Even though I've returned everything, the diamond ring back then was almost blinding. I chuckled. Right now, our names are still on the same house deed. Until she marries you, you've got no future home. I should thank your wife for using her money to buy me a home, saving me from mortgage payments. Oh, proud much, huh? Beggar. John acted indifferent, as if I were the one overthinking. But judging by his expression, I knew he was fuming. That was exactly my aim. If Wendy insists on keeping the house, John would go back and make a fuss. Over time, Wendy couldn't handle it and would naturally come to settle things with me. Sure enough, a week later, I got a call from Wendy. What did you say to John? What do you want me to say? Wendy sounded curt. You didn't have to provoke him, you know. He cries every day, and he's not in great health. I impatiently interrupted her. His daily crying isn't my problem. It should be yours. If you weren't provoking my husband, would he keep bothering me about meeting your parents? Wendy's tone wasn't great either, but I caught onto the info in her words. Wanting to meet the parents? Then why haven't they met? Turns out Wendy's parents don't welcome John at all. She kept it hidden, afraid John would find out. At that moment, I didn't know if John was foolish or pitiful. Wendy didn't convince her parents, so marrying John wasn't on the cards for now. Relying on John to get the house back seemed unworkable. With no other option, I had to discuss it with Wendy's mom. In 2 weeks, I rounded up some money from relatives and friends and reached out to her. "Auntie, last time I didn't bring it up because I was worried about you." But Wendy got back with her ex. "The house was acquired thanks to my parents' connections. I can't leave it with her. Please, could you persuade her to transfer the title?" Auntie hesitated, then sighed. "My husband and I were really fond of you. We don't acknowledge any other son-in-law." Honestly, such words are just for show. No parents don't side with their child. Everyone knows a good house is valuable and everybody wants one. She apologized a lot on the phone. "How about this? I'll join you to talk things over with Wendy. Let's have a frank conversation, including that guy." Before going, I took all the necessary documents. If things went well, I hoped to settle everything within a day and cut ties with Wendy. To my surprise, Auntie had keys to Wendy and John's house, likely given by Wendy. Another subtle form of favoritism. Even if she doesn't like him, she has to support her daughter's choice. She led me inside, and we sat on the couch, ready to call Wendy. Suddenly, the entrance door opened, and laughter echoed. It sounded like a young man's voice. Next thing I know, John walked in with an ultrasound picture in hand. He was on a call with Wendy. Before his smile faded, he spotted us on the couch, waiting. For a moment, you could hear a pin drop. He slowly put down the picture, paused for a few seconds, and calmly said, "Babe, your mom and ex-husband are here." Yep, he called me an ex-husband. While I wasn't looking, he discreetly twisted his lips, with a look of disdain towards me. I didn't move or speak. Previously, Auntie didn't like John. But now, with Wendy having a kid, the situation had taken a curious turn. I knew she loved kids. She'd hinted about wanting a grandchild. Well, now someone fulfilled that wish. Sure enough, her expression had changed. Her frown eased away. When John hung up, she asked, "Wendy's pregnant?" John nodded and passed the ultrasound photo. "Yes, Auntie, it's Wendy's." After that, he gave me a confident look. John wasn't smart but nailed this one thing. He never takes the lead, leaving it to Wendy. When Wendy returned, she was out of breath. "Mom, John and I are planning to register our marriage. We won't be having a wedding." Wendy's mom replied with exasperation, "How many times do you plan to get married? Enough of embarrassing us." Wendy glanced at me, mentioning her lack of a marital home, hinting at moral pressure on me to concede the place. Auntie seemed a bit caught off guard as she started speaking. I interrupted her. "Sure thing. Since she's pregnant, go ahead and move in." The three of them froze, not expecting me to be so agreeable. John's face lit up with pride. "Exactly. The home should be for those getting married. You're not getting hitched. Where are you staying? Might as well take the money and leave." Wendy's family got a nice house for nothing. Even though her mom said sorry, you could see that smile on her face. I said, "You can have the house, but I'm traveling in a few days. The paperwork can wait." Wendy didn't look happy, but she couldn't really say anything. She had done this to me before. "When are you coming back?" I just smiled and said, "We'll see." Then I left without looking back, because I finally saw the truth. Kicking Wendy off the title wasn't gonna happen, because she had no morals left. When your morals fail, you turn to the law. I bought some mini cameras online, hired someone to install them all over the house, and set up another internet line just for them. This way, I could watch the house on my phone anytime. I avoided private spots like the bedrooms and bathrooms, because I wasn't relying on this. I packed up my things and moved out of the house. The next day, John moved in without wasting time. Sometimes I checked the cameras, seeing the two of them cozying up all over the place. And a few times John would ask, "Between me and your ex-husband, who looks better?" "Of course you do. That terrible man bullied me every day." He'd say, "Finally, he's gone." And she'd reply, "Be careful when you go out. He might come back for revenge." But I just thought it was a good thing I hadn't gone after him yet. Friends and neighbors thought I was too nice. "Why didn't you fight back? How can you just give the house to those idiots? If it were me, I throw manure at their door and hire someone to yell until they're unrecognizable. But those things wouldn't really hit home. If you're gonna do something, do it big. I knew John was stalking my social media, so from then on, I posted daily. First day was about our coffee table. I love that Nordic style. Wendy searched all over town to help find it. Second day was the curtains. She liked black ones, but I liked light ones. Eventually, we went with mine. Third day, I offered to share my home's design plans with friends, so they could copy it perfectly. By day 10, late one night, John accidentally liked one of my posts and immediately unliked it. One weekend morning, a neighbor texted me, "What's all that noise at your place?" I checked the camera. Oh boy, John started a project. Tables, curtains, sofas, all smashed and cleared out. In less than a day, the place was empty. John was sitting in the mess. Callan Wendy, "Babe, I threw out all his stuff. Come home early so we can get new furniture." At the same time, John updated his social media with a photo of the mess saying, "Out with the old, in with the new." I laughed, called the police 2 minutes later. "Hello, officer. I'd like to report property damage." By the time John realized what was happening, he was already at the station, still in those same morning clothes, waiting for Wendy to get off work and shop for furniture. The officer told him he was being charged, and he clutched his wallet. So clueless. I didn't know. I was just redecorating my stuff. Wendy had claimed to be broke, so I had forked out an extra 200 grand for renovations. I handed over paperwork, the purchase list, costs, receipts, and ownership documents. Videos of John helping workers smash and take the stuff. The title shared by Wendy and me. Solid evidence. The red ownership document mockingly close to him, with the officer asking, "Why break their stuff?" John only argued weakly. "She said the place was mine. I'm the man of the house. Don't I get to redecorate?" Unfazed, I replied, "Any papers or deeds proving a gift or transfer?" The officer turned to John. "Evidence? Don't just cry. Show us something." John was at a loss, only insisting the house was his. The officer had enough. "Explain clearly or call someone who can. This isn't for whining." John phoned Wendy, who showed up half an hour later, looking furious. She stormed in, screaming at me, "Jason, why 'cause trouble?" The officer snapped, "Watch your tone." With relief, I addressed the officer. "This is my marital home. She was with him the day we got married. Kicked me out, moved him in, and now they've destroyed my furniture. How would you handle it?" He scanned through the evidence, saying, "Intentional damage could mean up to 3 years in jail, or a fine. If severe, 3 to 7 years. Liabilities below 3,000 can be mediated. But major damage over 100,000 involves compensation, and often jail, maybe even 7 years or more. Your damages seem substantial. I've only listed major items, not counted all decor and some art. Easily 100 grand worth. I had the option to have John jailed. John was pale and shaking, while Wendy accused me of invasion of privacy for filming. I pulled out our chat logs from when we renovated our home. "I want to install surveillance for our valuables." "Sure," she replied, indifferent as she was to design. I acted apologetic, staring at Wendy with a wry, teasing look. "Sweetheart, we've had cameras at home for ages. You know that." I suddenly remembered a video, saved it a while back. Too cringeworthy to watch later, so it's been collecting dust. Now let's take a look. It's in the living room. The contents pixelated. Better not watch. But the audio is clear through my phone. "Babe, let's switch places. What if there's a camera?" "Don't worry," John chuckled. "Even louder, let him see what I'm doing in his own home. Watch him crack under pressure, always posting on social media, haha. I'm so naughty, love." Everyone but those involved was grossed out. The cop put the phone down, serious. "They have the right to have cameras at home. Morality isn't my job, but destruction of property is. You can't bully people like this." Wendy panicked, softening her tone. Officer, he's sick. Can you let him off this time? I laughed. He didn't seem sick smashing up my furniture. The cop stood up. Once a case is filed, it's on. Decide if you want mediation. John suddenly realized, his face pale, staring coldly at me. I'll pay for the damages. The cop scoffed. Not just pay. If it's a lot, you could go to jail. Why so young and angry, picking fights with someone's spouse? John fell silent, clutching Wendy's sleeve, hiding. I opted for mediation. I didn't rush to send John away. That wasn't my goal. I wouldn't gain anything from it. What mattered was the property deed that's solely mine and my reputation. When leaving the police station, John stormed over, grabbing my collar. Do you want to die? I swiftly slapped him, leaving his face red. If you don't want jail, shut your filthy mouth. From today, get out of my house. If I find out you dare come back, I'll have you arrested. John cried, holding Wendy. I'm not leaving, I'm not. Wendy comforted him, taking a deep breath. Okay, whatever furniture's damaged, we'll pay. I'll give up the house too. Let's do the transfer tomorrow. That was the previous deal. Things are different now. I happily watched their disgusting expressions, slowly saying, you give me the house, and both of you need to publicly apologize to me. Put the apology in the community bulletin. Don't push it. Turning towards the police station, Wendy stopped me. All right, we'll do as you say. John, like a mad dog, yelled. Impossible, I'll never apologize. Wendy whispered, soothing him. Don't stoop to his level, you're unwell. I'll write it for you. He writes it himself. Or I'm getting it verified. I casually reminded. In your dreams. I'd rather die than apologize. Then off to jail you go. It used to be me pleading. Now, they're the ones begging me. Wendy Sweet talked me out of the police station. Because of this, she promised to transfer the house first thing in the morning. Every second delay is me being kind to them. I had money ready long ago. With Wendy's approval, the process was swift. I removed Wendy from my property deed, though I now had a mortgage to bear. With my current income, 5 years tops to pay it off. It wasn't a huge pressure. When leaving the public service center that day, Wendy called after me. You'll drop the charges, right? Ignoring her demanding tone, I said, apologize publicly, then we can talk. My goal was to get the house. As for their outcomes, not my concern. Now, half of my aim was accomplished. Wendy promised to write when she got back. That day, I contacted a renovation company. Before, I'd consider Wendy's tastes for renovations. She liked minimalism, so I skipped my favorite soft textures and fresh styles. This time, I told the designer my preferences. Went for light, luxurious French style. The designer was eager. Need to see your home layout. I got time now, let's go. After receiving the deed, I was in high spirits, only for them to crash when I reached my door. The keyhole stuffed with cement, and red paint on the door screaming, go to hell. The designer looked shocked. Bro, who did you upset? No need to guess, I knew who. Didn't expect him to still be restless. Next time, I guess I'll need surveillance in the hallway. A neighbor opened their door, peeking mysteriously. Jason, you're here. I know who. They invited the designer and me inside. Grumbling, there's been flyers tossed at my door. Wouldn't stop despite warnings. It's one thing to toss them, but sticking them on, that's another. I got fed up. Installed a camera. They pulled up footage on the computer. Funny coincidence. Caught him red-handed. On screen, John's back facing the camera, carrying a can of red paint, boldly writing on my door. When done, he took out his cement, filling the lock with it, then retrieving a wet wipe to clean the handle. The neighbor couldn't resist commenting. What's he doing? Wiping prints? So malicious, yet so stupid. The designer said, damaging a lock with cement ruins it. Getting a new one's pricey, right? Very. In all my life, seen the lawless, but never this stupid. He didn't expect his crime to be captured. Showing no mercy this time. Yes, I reported it again. I didn't need the apology letter. Shared John's acts in the neighborhood chat. He was taken away that night, giving residents a juicy tale. John threw a tantrum downstairs, claiming innocence. Even hit an officer. Grandpas and grandmas watching pointed fingers. It's him, yeah. Young but already wicked. That girl isn't any better. A pair of lowlifes. The case handler. It's the same cop from last time. He sees me and just starts laughing. He goes, "What kind of luck do you have?" I roll my eyes helplessly, glancing at the bite mark on his wrist, and say, "Sorry for the trouble." At the police station, John is visibly shaking with anger. "Jason, you're gonna get what's coming to you," he says. Due to the huge damages John caused, along with assaulting an officer, he's facing criminal charges. He came in all tough, but when he was begging me, he was pathetic. "I know I messed up. Please, man. Can't you just forgive me? I just got into grad school. I've still got classes to attend. Why are you messing up my future like this? Haven't heard a joke that good in ages. Wasn't it you who screwed up your own future?" Even the cop said, "It's not up to him to let you off the hook. Your behavior was too bad. It's beyond his control." In the end, Wendy never showed up. I was back home the night after the statement. I heard John got sentenced, but since he paid me compensation, he wasn't hit too hard and got out on probation. This whole thing turned into big news around here. I mean, there are plenty of shameless folks, but few as extreme as these two. The whole saga, from the car crash to stealing someone's wife and the tantrum at the end, was pieced together by onlookers. Videos and a little write-up went viral. Blog accounts shared it and it blew up quickly. People were commenting stuff like, "Where's this happening? Someone send it to their workplace and school." And, "People like this shouldn't be in society. They're gonna get what's coming for them." I even saw, "Hey, that's my co-worker/classmate." Though they were blurred out, they still got recognized. Since I cut ties with them, I found out all the aftermath online. John, with a record now, lost his freshly secured spot in grad school. He got expelled. Wendy's drama reached her workplace and she got fired. There was more bombshell news. Turns out, Wendy and John had secretly gotten married. This was shortly after John bragged about Wendy proposing. A convict and an unemployed person, what a match. But after her mom found out about John's criminal record, she refused to let Wendy have their kid. This whole mess tainted the kid's future and shamed their family. The mom made a scene, rallied tons of relatives and friends to stir up trouble at John's parents' place. Wendy couldn't take it anymore, divorced John, and terminated the pregnancy. My parents were relieved. "Good thing you cut ties quickly. If you pushed for the marriage license, it would have been way more complicated," they said. The whole neighborhood knows about those two now. One day, the security guard sees me, pops me on the chest warmly, and assures me, "Relax, son. I got sharp eyes here. Live easy in this neighborhood. Let's see anyone try to sneak past me." After half a year of this madness, I've thrown myself into work. No immediate plans for marriage. Even my parents figured out that rushing me might only cause loads of trouble. Over time, you see true colors. Focus on character. Don't rush it. Good things come to those who wait.